So we have viewers already. Thank you so much for tuning in. Thank you so much. Thank you so much for your support, and we are starting now. Hang on. There's something with the, okay. All right, and to our viewers, thank you so much for dropping by again and again. And I'm seeing names which are our regular viewers. Thank you so much every Monday. And all right, so here we are again. It's a slot for Men's Brief. Again and again, I would like to remind everyone there's nothing about men's undergarment here. Yeah, nothing to do with Omar's or Ilya's unmentionable. But the series will talk about matters that are not usually discussed or openly talk about men's issues or challenges. Welcome to Point of View series. Today is our 41st episode.
Yay!
Oh, thank you. A few more to go to reach our 100th episode. And
Right.
the point of view is basically a live talk show, as you can see on the screen. And the purpose of Point of View series is to enlighten each other and hopefully along the lines of getting the light bulb moment so that we all could act upon for the betterment of ourselves and others surrounding us. All right, and specifically on Monday on Men's Brief series, I'd like to share the big picture thinking about the session. So the big picture thinking around the Men's Brief sessions are, we would like to convey the idea around insight on how men might think, and therefore we women, we know how to understand them, right? And understand them better, definitely. And also the session, we would like to convey some form of messages on to all men out there. If you are facing men's issues, rest assured that you are not alone. There are others who might be facing the same issues or challenges. So you know who to reach out or how you can talk about it. And as usual, let's introduce ourselves. Omar, Ilyas, and I are corporate trainers, coaches, mentors, and or speakers in our own specialization. And let's hear from each one of us about our specific area. So let's start with Omar.
Hey, hi everybody, welcome back. For those who have been following us, if you're new, welcome. And Ilyas, I noticed you're wearing baju batik.
Yeah.
All right, cool. Yeah. Okay, my name is Omar, and I call myself a conversation coach. I help people develop confidence with conversations, and also I help them articulate their ideas better. And the motivation came from the time when I was in corporate, when a lot of people there were a lot of arguments, a lot of disagreements, and I felt that a lot of times things could have been solved if people had better conversation skills. Apart from that, I'm also a coach. Over to you, Ilyas.
Oh, okay. Hi, my name is Ilyas. I'm an entrepreneurship coach. I mainly deal with new entrepreneurs, startups, and I help them see a clearer path for them to work on. So that's what I do. I myself is an entrepreneur as well, so makes it easier for me to coach entrepreneurs. That's it.
Hey, you missed out your rafting.
Oh, my rafting, yeah. So one of, one of my business is whitewater rafting. Do check us out. My company is called Rafkistan. Yeah. You can also look for whitewater rafting Malaysia on IG or FB. Okay.
Thank
Cool.
you.
Thank you.
Right. So in fact, all of us, we met we were part of this entrepreneurship program. All of us were the coach. We were the coaches and also mentors. So definitely, I mean, if you are interested to know more about the area of entrepreneurship, you know who to contact, which is Ilyas. All right. So, and as for me, my area of focus is image consultancy and personal and professional development. 70% of my business comes from corporate trainings, and the rest is on one-on-one coaching and mentoring. And I'm also supporting a social enterprise. At the moment, I'm the director of learning and development for Athena Empowers, a social enterprise founded by Puan Anja Julia Abu Bakar. Right. And okay, so in this 41st episode, we are going to talk about another fresh topic, which I've been always curious about, which is embarrassing things for men to do. And I've actually been asking quite a number of male friends, and some of them will say like, I don't think so. I have things that I'm embarrassed to do. Some of them will then reply me something like, not only men lah, women also got. I said, of course. Okay, so whatever the conversation that we are going to share or to have today, it will be. It doesn't mean that we are, putting the bad thing only on the man or on the male side of our life, but it's basically, like I mentioned earlier, today's session is really, we just want to understand men better. All right, so in this conversation, what I'm going to do is I have already identified sort of 7 areas of our life, and from there we'll then ask these two gentlemen what are the things that related to that specific area of our life that they feel they have something that they are embarrassed about. All right, so to continue further, I will handle to Omar.
Yeah. Okay. I've been doing this point of view series with Jack, and we are co-hosts. And she's always passed it on to me I guess to segue into the topic. But really, for this topic, it's really for Jack to ask a lot of questions, because it's a topic about what's in men's minds and that women are curious about. So when we were discussing about what are the things that are in men's minds, Elias and I were like trying to figure out, what else is there besides nothing?
Yeah.
And really, it's for the women to ask questions about what's in our minds, because to us, that's how we are, and it's not apparent what's unique or unusual. So I need to pass it back to you, Jack, and ask your questions.
I like how you bridge the conversation, because that really represents how men will really want to justify, especially part that perhaps will put them down. Like, definitely embarrassing things is not something that you would like to admit, right? Something that you won't be telling to anyone. You have to be asked, or rather been given the opportunity to share about it. So that's really represent on your how you feel at this point of time, especially related to this topic. All right.
I think we just have a single track mind, and when you ask questions like that, it's just like, huh? There's nothing there. So it's like,
exactly. Usually there's not one but 2 of them now, like justifying. All right. Okay. Well, I mean, it happens to everyone regardless, right?
Yeah.
Regardless you are
Man or women,
or you're a man, right? It's the same. But probably just to have sort of like a bit, to put on a bit of heat here, probably it's a bit difficult. The difficulties is slightly higher for men to admit compared to women, because we are emotional beings, so we are okay to express what we feel about certain things, right? So okay, forget about women for this point of time. So let us both of you. Okay, like I mentioned earlier, I have this 7 area of life. The first one that I have in mind is body. Anything that, because for ladies, definitely this is the first thing that comes to mind when it comes to things that they are embarrassed about or we embarrassed about, right? So I'm curious about men. Anything around body, around your health, around your fitness that you can relate to something that is embarrassing for you. Probably we can start with, who wants to start first? Omar?
Okay, when you said body, I was thinking I got nothing to be embarrassed about. And I started to think, maybe not now, but before, yes. I wouldn't say embarrassed, but a little hard to accept. Like when I was losing my hair, Yeah, that was a little bit uncomfortable at first. Yeah, but then the minute I shaved it off, it's like, what's the big deal? You know, it's no big deal. The other thing is, oh, I'm not very tall. I'm afraid of heights. That's why I'm not very tall. I'm and that's not a cause for embarrassment, but
What's your height?
I'm only 5'5". You know, so for a guy, that's not very tall, and it's not so much embarrassment, but it's like, darn it, why can't I be? I am Yemeni descent. Yeah, my great grandparents were from Yemen, and I always wonder if I have to be part Arab, why do I have to be part small Arab? You know, because Yemenis are small Arabs, right? Yeah. You know, Iraqis, Iranians, Saudis, they're big Arabs. Why Yemen? So anyway, so it's a bit more of a not embarrassment, but you know, when you're younger, especially, you don't really want to compare heights. Apart from that, not really, but I'm pretty vain. So when I get a tummy, I am a little bit conscious about that. Yeah, apart from that, maybe nothing much. Yeah.
All right. How about fitness? Anything about fitness? Yeah. Yeah,
no, unless
this question comes from like there's this perception around our society, especially that men should be strong. You should be able to carry heavy stuff compared to women. Something like that. But not everyone will be able to do that. Probably because of fitness. Probably because of just the condition, the body condition, for example.
Yeah, not for me, but I do understand that for some men, if you challenge them by saying, "Ala perempuan boleh buat, a lady can do this, why can't you?" They would be triggered. But for me, it's like, no, it doesn't affect me. I don't know about Ilyas.
Okay.
I don't think it.
So let's move to Ilyas. Yeah, around body health or fitness. Yeah.
Bodies. Okay. You know what? I think when I was a lot younger, right? It affected me because I was really, really scrawny.
Mm-hmm.
I was really scrawny, so I couldn't put on weight. So I'm like this tall guy but scrawny lah. So macam tak cun lah. But as I entered my 20s, I picked up a little bit weight, and I, with my height and all, it was good for me, to be honest. So I'm used to having good physical attributes in my 20s. So I'm tall, and
What's your height? I mean, just to compare with Omar.
I'm about 6 now.
Okay.
I'm about 5'11", 6 foot lah. So I was quite alright in the height division, and in my mid 20s, I was packing a little bit of mass lah. So macam dia okay. So it was always alright in my 20s. Cuma masa I'm younger tu memang susah lah, because the skin was breaking out and I'm scrawny. It doesn't look good in there. So macam tak best lah. But when in my 20s, it was all good. And then when I started to really grow in my early 30s lah, I think, when I start packing on weight lah. So masa tu memang embarrassing lah for me, because I'm used to look quite okay kan. So macam naik weight tu memang tak biasa lah. When I stand straight and look down, I couldn't see my toes. So macam it wasn't good feeling lah. Tapi sekarang pun I'm still packing on weight, and so to say I'm totally embarrassed, tak lah. But because my memories of my younger days is like, I'm looking like this, and now like this, and it's still like this, and it's not moving, so macam I do feel a little bit of uncomfortable lah. And it affects lah. I think macam my health, and one thing that embarrasses me, I snore. when I sleep, I snore. And I snore really loud, So macam bila I naik public transport ke overnight, you bayangkan lah, I naik bus kan, nak pergi Penang ke macam mana, you bayangkan the whole bus macam mana. The whole bus will be awake lah, I suppose. So it affects I think it affects me. The snoring actually affects me, to be honest. I haven't flown more than 12 hours after I got married. So I don't know how it will affect my international flights. So I'm imagining, right, if I'm, if I'm flying off to Madrid, that would be horrible for the whole flight, man. So macam, it affects me. I'm very conscious bila I tidur, And bila terbangun kan, semua orang tengah pandang I, macam, oh my God. So that's embarrassing for me. Health-wise, when bila snoring macam tu memang tak best Really the best.
But perhaps when you get older, you don't really care. I mean, I had older friends, and he doesn't care. He just fart in public.
Fart in public tak ada hal lagi tau. But when you snore, right, and everybody on the same flight can't sleep. And when you're on a public transport, it affects my work tau. So because I couldn't get good sleep, so during the day training ke apa kan, I get really lethargic easily So the snoring affects me So that is embarrassing to be honest
All right. Okay. So yeah, good to know. At least I've actually encountered a situation where people, someone was snoring, and that's really, really not a good.
Remember when we used to go for group training kan, when we go dulu kan, cakap siapa nak bilik dengan I kan, macam semua orang tak nak bilik dengan I so so as much as we laugh about it, as much as I laugh it out, deep down it hurts. And macam the running joke was that you bring your earbuds, your ear,
then that's why you get to share the room with Zaki. Zaki doesn't care if he snores.
Yeah. Because Zaki pun sama je.
Okay. But
right. So
Jack, when you talk about sorry, go ahead.
Yeah. So the next one will be around mind or emotions. This probably about the psychological part of you. What are the things that might be embarrass you? Like, I give you an example, like perhaps like ladies, we are okay to cry in public, right? Well, for men, I'm not so sure because I haven't had any conversation around this. So crying, for example, to express it, not only crying, anything that has got a very intense emotions, probably for men is quite embarrassing if you can't control that. I don't know. So we'll start with Ilyas this time.
Me crying, no problem. I'm used to crying in public, crying in training. I'm quite used to it, so it's not an issue sangat for me. But I know a lot of men is an issue lah. Okay, but I'm alright. I'm alright with crying, but kind of for people who are not probably in the training industry, crying in public really susah.
Were you always like this, Ilyas? I mean, before you are in the training industry, were you like, you okay to express your feelings in public?
Not to say, because I wouldn't know lah, to be honest, Jacqueline, because I got into training very early on, when I turned 18.
Oh yeah, you mentioned about it.
Yeah, so I got rid of it when I was 18. So I had no issues with expressing my emotions in public. I would do, poetry recitation with crazy shit going on, and because I'm okay about it, but my friends, would talk about it like something is so alien, to them. So macam
because
this part I cannot empathize lah, to be honest.
Yeah, because I had a few not boyfriends, it's like men friends. They are, like for them, expressing your sadness in public, that is like expressing your or showing your weaknesses. So because this thing is very private, so they can, they don't show it in public. So what about you, Omar?
Yeah, I don't know if I can call it embarrassing, because I didn't realize that I could cry easily until I got into training. You know how in the initial part of training, you have to undergo the training yourself.
Yeah,
There's a lot of self-discovery and stuff like that. And I was surprised to discover that I could cry easily. So it doesn't really embarrass me, but it just makes me uncomfortable to cry in front of people, maybe because I'm not used to it. So I rather not do that, even today. So I try to avoid situations like that, even now, sometimes at the end of a training, depending on the main trainer, if there's some kind of a deep dive into your emotional issues among the trainers at the end of the training, if I were to go deep into it, chances are I'd probably choke up. And it's not out of sadness or anything. It's just emotions. Sometimes when you train, you see someone transform, and that affects you. And I can tear up just based on that. So I tend to just make comments on the surface, because otherwise I choke up.
What about
so I wouldn't call it embarrassing, Jack. It's just something that I'm not comfortable with. Yeah.
Right. I mean, because the environment is very much into understanding, right? But what if it's in the situation where like common people, like not in the training industry, this is like unexpected for men for them it's like unexpected or even unacceptable to see men crying in public, or not in public really, but showing the emotion, the intense emotion.
Yeah.
What do you think about that? I mean, your experience, Omar, or you are okay?
Well, I don't know. Remember in 1980 when the general cried? The general who ran the Commonwealth Games, he cried, and it was okay for me to see that, but well, not but, and I like I said, I have no issues with men crying in public. However, unfortunately or fortunately, or however you call it, I do have an expectation that men shouldn't be weeping like women do, as easily as women do. I mean, right? I mean, if you're weeping at a funeral, you're weeping at some sad situations, that's fine. But like there's a car accident and you're weeping, it's like, what the hell are you doing? To see a woman weeping at a car accident, for instance, yes, understandable. But for a man, to me, you got to man up a little bit. Maybe I'm still a little bit more traditional. Yeah.
I easily sebab lah. To be honest.
Sebab, sebab is common.
Sebab I cepat mengalir. So my wife would know when I'm doing it. Especially when we're watching movies. Oh, she knows exactly what scene is going to cause me sebab. Bila scene jadi dia terus pandang saya kat tepi. Dia bawa keluar tisu. It's so predictable. I'm so predictable like that. Okay. Sometimes I don't know why, but sometimes because I do this banyak dekat movie theaters tau, where I get sebab. I senang gila sebab. Ada one time tu I don't know why I was embarrassed, but I was embarrassed lah. I was embarrassed. Macam like, kira jangan tunjuk orang kan. But I don't know. Sometimes I'm okay, sometimes I'm not. But I'm easily sebab.
Yeah. A little bit told us that watching Hindustan movies pun you boleh nangis.
That little bit is talking right now, is it? Yes. Hindustan I paling senang, okay? Paling senang I nak ni.
For me, I when I was young, I used to read poetry in my room quietly, not quietly, privately, and I would really act it all out and cry. Really, yeah. But I wouldn't do it in public. I never explored that. So yeah.
Oh, maybe you want to try that. Omar.
Right. Yeah, do it.
Now that we know.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah. Well, I mean, for me, yeah, we all have our perception, but I do agree with Omar. For me personally, a man, I expect men to be a bit yeah, strong in this sense. But
Yeah.
because I can be easily cried as well, like Ilyas, I can cry. Even the movie The Habis one, I still crying because I'm like still having the visual in my mind, right? So yeah. So next is about relationship or something to do with intimate relationship and family, or maybe some kind of intimate relationship.
Mm.
Mm.
Okay. When you mention that, what I can think of is if I do something in private with someone I love, like my wife or my girlfriend, and it's you're doing something really romantic at the time, and it's private. If she talks about that, I'd be embarrassed. I'd be embarrassed about it. So don't talk about it. I mean, you can talk about it. If I don't know about it, that's fine. But don't talk about it in front of me. So I get very embarrassed. Yeah. So that would embarrass me. Yeah.
So meaning
But
like
not enough.
if she announced to the world that you gave her flowers, something like that.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
Yes.
Mm.
Yeah,
Something.
but giving flowers, upfront is not so abnormal. But let's say you do something really unusual. I can't think about it now. Yeah, something really really intimate, like you do something romantic. You say you sing to her, kind of thing, and then she tells people, "Oh, Omar sang to me a love song," and I'll be really embarrassed.
Right.
Because for one thing, I can't sing. Yeah.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Elias is trying to reflect.
How about you, Elias? Anything that has got on relationship, intimate, or related to family that might be making you feel embarrassed about?
Tak adalah. I think whenever
I think you mentioned about it just now before we went on live. Remember when you mentioned about when you asked
marah. Mana?
when you asked Yus earlier, and she mentioned about I think Mara, right? The
Marah.
Mara.
Yeah. Okay. So sometimes when I it rarely happens now that I'm older. I think it was early on in when our marriage dulu. It's not. It's sometimes when it's like up until here and I'm like almost snapping, right? Sometimes I can turn marah dia lah in front of people, or in front of my parents, kan? So I'm embarrassed about that. After that lah, masa saya tengah marah tu, I tak embarrassed pun. Dia rasa embarrassed. Tapi after that tu memang I rasa embarrassed gila. My mom didn't raise me up to do that, so I embarrassed my mother basically. So I usually treat people really well. It's just that when when it happens, I mean it does happen. I'm only human, kan? Tapi I'll be embarrassed lah about it because my mom didn't raise me up to be like that. Kan? So macam
Yeah. Talking about Mara, now that you mention it, I've seen women or wives probably who chastise their husband, who put their husbands down in public. I think I feel embarrassed. And if I were the husband, I feel not just embarrassed, I'd be angry as well. Because I think that is a big no-no. It works both ways. You don't put each other down. But for a woman, for the wife to put the husband down in public, I think it would be really embarrassing for me. So fortunately, it hasn't happened, or it never would, But yeah, I think that's a big no-no.
I think we talk about this. I think many years. I don't know when was it happen, Omar. There's someone that can be friends of friends. Yeah, that it happens right in front of us, and even myself, I don't know where to put my eyes or even where to face when we hear that kind of situation, right? Yeah. I think for me it's really private and it shouldn't be happening in front of people, right? So okay, under relationship and also intimacy, we something that I don't know how to put this. A man who is not functioning. So yeah.
Yeah.
So you want to say more? But
I
you know
mean,
what I mean?
generally men, we kind of have like a bro code. We don't talk about it because I don't know. It's something you just don't talk about. Like me and my wife, macam kita orang kan, we are trying for a child kan.
Mm.
So I don't know. It's just maybe it's just me and I just cakap kat my wife. You know, if anyone just asks, you know, you just tell it it's me. You know, that makes it easier on anyone. You know, I don't really care too much to be honest. So macam I tak kisah pun lah. But I think that kind of question it affects women a lot more than
Yeah.
men.
Yeah.
Men because men we just don't ask.
Yeah, and I think it is a big problem because, like, for women, if you have issues, you can physical issues, right, and it's sexual, you can always see a pakar wanita, pakar perempuan, right, pakar perempuan. But for men, there's no pakar zakar, or something like that.
Ada lah, tapi dia tak ada lah pakar tu kan.
Exactly. So there's no real doctor to see, you know. So this is a big issue with a lot of men, and it affects them. But I find that
we've got secret tukang roads, right?
oh yeah, you got secret tukang urut.
Yes,
Yeah,
Faraz to tell about you've been to tukang urut, that type of tukang urut.
That one usually macam when I nak kahwin kan, sama macam kau kena jumpa dia ni. You know, you don't really say what it is, tapi kau kena jumpa dia ni. Dia macam tu, okay. Macam like, and bila a man yang ada issues with our ni kan, we do talk, we do ask each other, tapi you kind of pick who you talk to lah. Macam only another guy who doesn't have children will talk to me about it. Dia tak ada hal cakap sama-sama because kita sama-sama kan. Tapi another man wouldn't ask lah. I think. Kan Omar, what do you think? It's sort of we have a bro code going on lah.
No, there is because like you said, men pick who they want to talk to because it's not it's not manly, right? But I think that for men who are having these kind of issues, if they need someone to talk to, find an older person because in actual fact, sexual issues happen when you get older, and it's so commonplace. It's so commonplace. It's just that when it's happening to you, you don't realize that it's happening to everyone else, almost everyone else. So find an older person and talk to them, and I think they'll be most understanding. You know, because this issue is so private, so personal to men. It really affects their lives. They can't talk to their wives because they're totally embarrassed. And a lot of times, this is still from my own experience, but a lot of times they, because they are embarrassed to talk to their wives, the wives misinterpret the situation. You know, and I know I'm generalizing, but a lot of times the wife will think that he's not performing because he might have some other woman or he's lost interest in her and things like that. And then the disagreement or the tension escalates. But all he needs is really some understanding. You know, and even if his wife understands, he'll still be embarrassed. So for men out there who are facing sexual issues, go find an older person, you know, could be your father-in-law, your father, your uncle, older friend, go talk to them.
Yeah, it's very
Go talk to a doctor. Go see a doctor and talk to a doctor.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it's really important to let it out because sometimes maybe you are not in a situation where you can go see doctor or to seek specialist opinion or advice on this. So probably the best is, like Omar mentioned, find someone who is older, right? Okay.
Yeah.
So next is around social or around social life with friends or So anything that
I got a few here, but let me start. This is just want to get it off my chest. Okay, ladies, listen up.
Wow.
Number one. If you're going out with a guy and you're not even married yet, okay, don't ask him to go buy you a sanitary pad if he happens to go to the supermarket or to the store. Don't do that. It's embarrassing. But then again, it depends on the age of the man, right? But to me, it's like if you're not even my girlfriend, girlfriend not so bad because I'm older now. But if you're young, yeah, depending on the guy, but most guys, they get pretty embarrassed. Yeah, that's one. Yeah, don't go buy a sanitary pad. Even if you ask them, would you be okay to buy? Chances are, even if they are not okay, they'll probably say yes just to please you. So the safest thing to do is not to do that. The other thing is, I one time had a meeting. It's not even a date or anything. A meeting with a lady, and she had to go to we were walking out of the restaurant where we were meeting, and she was on the way to the ladies. She turned to me and says, "Tolong pegang bag I." Don't do that. Don't ask a guy to hold your handbag, please.
Actually, tak pernah buat.
Yeah.
Number one,
don't
number
do
two, tak pernah buat. Okay.
Yeah. So like I said, I couldn't say no because you don't want to say no. So I just took a bag and I put it on the floor and I just stood like 3 feet apart, but I kept my eyes on the bag because I don't want to be associated with a handbag. That's another one. Yeah. The other thing is a lot of times men don't like to dance, or they've forgotten how to dance, or they don't know how to dance, and it's a bit embarrassing if you ask them to dance. So I don't know how to handle that one. Yeah.
Yeah.
For the ladies, I don't know how you're gonna handle that one. Even when I was in college last time, when I had a girlfriend, I would dance with her. But there was one time, there was this girl who asked me to dance. It was just a friend, nothing more than that. And I turned her down. I refused. And it totally embarrassed her, of course. And of course, I cannot scolding from my girlfriend. So how could you do that, So I know it embarrasses the girl. So a lot of times we're forced to dance because we don't want to embarrass the girl, but it's so totally uncomfortable. But it's really not a big deal. It's in the lower end of the list compared to the handbag and the sanitary pad.
The handbag. Yeah.
Elias, what?
I
Yes,
kind of concur with Omar here. So these are the things that we don't tell you. We don't like to hold your handbag. And because I say this, my wife will make sure that I'm holding her handbag. Okay. Right. But these are the things men will always say yes to, but they don't like. Pegang handbag, beli sanitary pad. Tapi I okay je. Sekarang tak ada masalah lah. It's not an issue for me now lah.
Right. About handbag, right? That's your second list, Omar. About handbag, that makes me reflect on my previous experience. I've experienced men, my ex-boyfriend, he offered.
Yeah, if he offers, it's fine.
I really don't like to see men with handbag holding the girlfriend's or the wife's handbag. I don't like it because for me, it's like, macam, you are a man, you don't need to carry handbag, right? But he offered, and that time we wasn't in a shopping complex. We were walking. It's like the corridor, dekat, like shops, kan? And it's so hot under the hot sun. And he offered, and sebab I was on my heel, and I'm like, okay lah, pegang lah, But I do have this thinking, you don't need to do that. But yeah, probably because it's out of necessity at that point of time, that maybe he was seeing me like struggling with the heat, and then with my back, with the lubang-lubang jalan, maybe because of that.
And if I had to hold it, I would hold it like macam tak biasa pegang, I would hold it like
serious? Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
No, but these are the things that men don't tell you, you see. So we are letting you know, we're letting the cat out of the bag here.
Yeah, this is my first time. And when he offered that to me, and then you mentioned about how you hold it, and then that again made me to recall how he held my bag. It was okay. It wasn't like this. It was not awkward. Yeah.
Yeah. So
interesting.
Yeah.
But
dancing in public is a no-no for me. As much as I like to dance in public, my sister has banned me from dancing in public ever, because I dance like a girl according to her. So
okay, all right. Well, I've seen Omar dancing. He had to because we forced him to do that because we were the organizer of a party.
Ah,
Okay. All right, so that's on the social. And okay, let's hear about something related to business, your career. Yeah. Ilyas, would like to start?
embarrassing. It's embarrassing when you don't measure up. I think in business kan.
Hmm.
Um, so macam contoh now I'm in my rafting punya business kan. I've been in this business for so long.
How long?
Um,
Maybe you can.
lama dah 10 tahun kot sekarang.
Wow. Mm.
And then when this new kid on the block just datang and like tiba-tiba company dia besar, it as much as it doesn't bother me, it bothers lah. I'm embarrassed that I couldn't be as big macam mana tu kan.
Mm.
So yeah, bila tak measure up lah. Measure up ni pun is my own expectation pun. It has nothing to do with anything pun. Especially when we are I'm an entrepreneurship coach kan lagi lah. So you gotta walk the talk as well kan. So yeah lah, so that happens lah sometimes. For me, most of the time is when nanti we'll talk about it later kot. I think you'll have another kan.
Okay. Yeah.
But in business, it's like that lah. Bila I tak boleh fulfill even my own expectations.
Alright.
Contoh macam I've got a trip and then certain things benda basic pun tak boleh nak deliver kan. Not my fault probably, but it is my business, so it's my fault lah. You know what I'm saying? So macam like another surprise. I tak suka lah. I get embarrassed easily macam tu lah. Benda kecil-kecil je pun, tapi it bothers me lah. It embarrasses me lah. Macam masuk toilet ada sawang. It embarrasses me. I feel embarrassed when benda basic tak boleh fulfill my own expectation. Memang I embarrassed. Itu je lah.
Omar?
Yeah, I'm the same way. In fact, when it comes to business, I consider myself a late starter, very late. I don't have a natural business sense. It's all learned, and and because of that, it takes time for me to pick it up. Because it's not so natural, and it's embarrassing for me when, like Ilyas said, when someone else is doing what you want to do, and they've taken off at a flying start, and you're still gay, so to speak. It's a bit embarrassing. But I think over time, I came to terms with it because to me, this is my pace. I accept it, and there's no reason to be embarrassed because if someone makes a judgment, it's not really my problem. That's his problem, because he doesn't know my story, right, or my weaknesses. So I do have a lot of weaknesses when it comes to business, and yes, a lot of people are doing a lot better than me. In fact, finances is one of the areas that I was averse to for some reason. Ever since I was, now that I'm talking about it, when I was young, I used to save my money very well. But then what happened was people borrowed them. People borrowed them, yes. And
I thought you were going to say I got married. So it's like I was waiting.
No. This was since I was a kid.
Okay.
This was since I was a kid. So I didn't have stuff. I didn't have things because I saved my money. But my friends or others would have things, and then when they were finish all their money, they would ask them to borrow from me. So I ended up not having money and not having anything. And I think because of that, I created my own philosophy about money. I said, when you have money, spend it. Yeah, and it became a habit. And it just became a part of me, and for that reason, I ran into a lot of financial issues. But finance was an area that I was very ignorant about. I remember I was in my late 30s, and I was hearing my friends talking about overdraft, and I didn't even know what it was. And I was already in my 30s. I was like, what's an overdraft? So because of that, I developed late, and I knew very, very little about finances. And the older I got, the more embarrassing it was for me to ask about these things. Whether it was about money or about business, like how do you make a sale, things like that. How do you market, stuff like that, right? One of the reasons was I think the way I behave, sometimes people have certain expectations. Like I joined sales simply because it was intimidating for me. And when I didn't know about what to do about things, I went up to my boss and he actually said this. He says, "Oh, I'm disappointed in you." So then, who else do I ask, right? So yeah, so it was really very demoralizing. But over time, and because I'm in training, I realized that you should really not bother about what people think. Whether you know or don't know, that's your pace. That's how it is. That's how things are. And you should just, if you need to know, go and ask. If someone if the person that you ask looks at you in a very judgmental way, then my response now is, are you going to judge me or are you going to help me? It's really not my problem if you judge me. So for men out there who have these kind of issues, just remember that, it's who cares about what others think about you? It's all about you, and the most important thing is that you want to develop and you want to progress. And you will find friends who are willing to help you, seriously. Yeah.
Thanks, Omar. And since you're talking about business, money or finance, maybe let's hear from Ilyas as well around money and finance.
Money. All issues are money, and money usually is the root of all problems. Or can be any problem. And money memang, at first it didn't bother me as much, to be honest. I didn't have any embarrassment when it comes to symbols that having money represents. I memang tak ada issues on those things. However, I do have embarrassment when I couldn't fulfill my responsibilities when it comes to money. Itu memang ada embarrassment. To my wife ke, to my family ke, memang deep down memang ada embarrassment lah. So that, tapi not having symbols of money, I tak ada masalah. So I don't have a problem driving an old car ke apa semua, it's not an issue for me. But not fulfilling my responsibilities, orang tak tahu pun, I tahu. So I will be embarrassed about it. And then when it comes to macam tadi, another one for business, right? Because I mean, I know quite a lot. So when I don't apply what I know pun, I'll be embarrassed about it. So itu je lah. I think I'm more embarrassed when I couldn't even fulfill my own expectations.
Alright. Okay, I just want to something that came to me, which I think I would like to know what do you think around it, because it's also around probably money.
Okay.
If you're going out with a girl, katalah dulu lah, bukanlah if, masa your pengalaman, your experience when you went for a date, for example, not even a date, probably like friends, maybe female friends, yeah. And if that's the first time and during paying time, I mean paying the bill, right? And the girl insisted to pay. So how do you feel about it? Do you
Give me a name and phone number. Give me a name and phone number. I want to go out with her.
Okay. What if? Okay, that's one situation. Second situation is like if the girl probably asks you to pay. Ask you to pay.
And you can't pay? Is that what you're saying?
Probably. You might be in a situation where it's a bit challenging for you.
Oh, okay.
What are you going to do about it? Or what is the right thing to do?
I just cakap, I've got enough money for whatever lah.
Okay, that's Ilyas. Personality. You, Omar?
Yeah, no, yeah. If I was younger, I would probably be embarrassed because I wouldn't know how to say no and how to tell her. So I'd probably just go, and if she says, "You mind paying?" and I'm dead. You know, I really would be embarrassed like anything. But yeah, over time, you know how to handle it. If I didn't have the money to pay out, and if they wanted to go somewhere expensive that I can't afford at that moment, I would say that I wouldn't have enough. I don't have enough cash for this place or something like that. I would say it.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, same here. So
Yeah. So it's
Yeah.
just
So
like, Omar?
no, I just wanted to say when you get older, you know, you get less embarrassed. So
I
Yeah.
think when you
Sorry.
turn 40, there's nothing to be embarrassed about when you turn 40, right?
Yeah. So why I asked this question is actually a question asked by a male friend.
Uh-huh.
Remember back then, and I was like, how I answered that also like what you did, you know, like just be frank about it, and you know, just you can't. Yeah, you might feel embarrassed, but rather than you saying things which you are not, and it will give you that trouble, right?
Yeah, it's
Then
about trouble.
it will prolong the how to say, the bad impression lah about you. So might as well you just be frank about it. Be frank about it, right? Okay.
Yeah.
Next
But
is around.
hang on, Jack. On that subject, right? What I would be embarrassed about, or rather uncomfortable about, is you know, you have some friends who are very generous, and they know you can't afford it, but they keep saying it's okay, I'll pay. That would be a little bit uncomfortable as well. Whether
Okay.
your friend is a girl or a woman, you know what I'm trying to say? Let's say Ilyas is you know, Ilyas enjoys going out with me, and I'm saying, hey, Ilyas, I don't have enough cash, you know. And Ilyas says, oh, don't worry, I'll pay for it. And if it happens once or twice, it's okay. But if he keeps doing it, you know, I would say stop. Just stop that, because it would make me feel very uncomfortable. Even though Ilyas means well and he really has no issues, but I would have issues.
So I don't have that issues.
And
To be
that's
honest.
good, yeah.
Well,
I have a friend who's like that. A very good friend, and I'll try to go Dutch every time, you know, because some places we go is really expensive, but I can't afford to go Dutch. But every time they will refuse. So not that I gotten used to it. It's just that I think when they do ask me out to go on this, you know, to these places, they've already have the intention, you know, to splurge or whatever, lah, you know. But I don't count on that. I always prepared to, if I agree to go to that place, I'm always prepared to go Dutch. So yeah, because
Well, it's not just makan, Ilyas. It's sometimes they ask you to go, you know, hey, let's go holiday, you know, I'll pay for everything, kind of thing. If it happens too many times,
I don't have those kind of friends. Can you pass me the number?
No, it depends. I actually had a group of friends, and one of the ladies was very rich, and she insisted on paying for my fare. You know, no, I can't. Yeah, tak boleh lah.
all right.
Yeah.
So okay. Unless if you are able to talk about it openly, maybe then it's a bit okay. Maybe I don't know. Well, I said this because had this experience when I was this man asked me to go out, and then for makan, it's just makan, usual makan, nothing attached to it. But after that, he said that, why don't you pay this one? We go for a drink, I pay that one. So I respect him a lot because of that he is very open about it. So okay. I'm okay with it. So unless you give me this very clear cue, then only I will like, okay, I will do it. But some men, they're just like macam, they are embarrassed to say that, right? So I don't know. So I'll just leave it to you lah. You pay, you want to pay, you pay. You know, although I don't know whether that man wants to pay or not. So
So now that I'm way past 40, if you want to pay for my stuff, go ahead. I'm okay.
You don't care, right?
I don't care anymore.
But
Okay.
I do get what you're saying, Omar. Like, even for me, right? Macam, I will have a goal to um, treat my friend out. One who's been treating us a lot and bawa dia keluar pula, and it's
Yeah.
all on us. So I do feel that. So that is how I handle my embarrassment, I suppose.
Yeah.
Because for a girl,
I think it's sad,
especially right, for a girl, especially when you are in this situation where you are meeting this man for the first time, or maybe first few meeting, we like for me, I feel like you might have your own way of showing you are a man, which is you are paying, but I don't know if that's true until you say it to me lah. Like for example, if you think that we want to split the bill, just say it. So it has to come from you.
Has to come from the
But for
women.
me, no. But for me now, of my age, now I usually I will ask, or I see the queue. If the man like calling for the bill and he's like already paying, so let it be. But if
I think
nothing
for
is
women, right?
happening,
If you guys yang tanya kan, you want us
Yeah.
to split the bill, it's okay for us. Just to propose that, I think
Yeah.
salah.
so
No, I'm okay with that too now. Like, especially like I said,
Sekarang okay lah.
for 40, tak apa.
yeah,
Go
I think,
ahead.
I think 40 before we go out, we say we're gonna go Dutch, right?
But I really
I think
appreciate,
for me,
like for instance,
sorry, Amma.
no, I really appreciate if if we go out often and then the woman says, "Let me take this one." Yeah, it's great. It's great. I think her esteem goes up.
If it's many
Sorry?
times, it's okay. I mean, you can. Well, obviously, we've been seeing each other for long, so you have to. It's good if you can share. But I think if it's a first meeting, I don't want to say even kalau date, then definitely it has to be expectedly the man has to do it lah, has to bear the cost. Okay. So that's on the money and finance. How about this one? We are about time already. How about spirituality? Like not only religion, but probably like your mental wellness practice, things that make you feel calm. Like just to take care of your well-being. So yeah, how about on that?
I've got this one. I guess I think it's funny, but it's true. Okay. When we go to the mosque, right, when we semayang in our, when we wear jeans ke apa, and then kita sujud kan, and we will see your undergarments, right? I selalu embarrassed lah bila jadi macam tu. Especially when I'm, macam kalau jeans selalu right sikit kan. Macam, okay, there's this startup, baru je start, dia buat undergarment yang dia panggil apa, sah. So that if you semayang, the undergarment is actually tinggi. So it covers your aurat. So it's like, I think that's kind of cool. I'm embarrassed whenever that happens to me. But other than that, the really thing that I'm embarrassed is that I boleh baca Quran tapi tak baca. Itu sangat embarrassing sebenarnya.
Yeah.
Siapa tak tahulah, tapi I just feel embarrassed lah. It's there and it's collecting dust and I can read. Ada one time tu, I haven't read it for a very long time. You know how when you don't read it for a long time and then you nak start baca, dia merangkak-rangkak kan. Oh, that is embarrassing, man. Bila it happens, bila baca Yasin ke
Yasin.
Yasin kan. The first 2-3 pages laju je. Dah sampai page kelima dia jadi slow kan. Jadi slow kan, you dah start baca slow je sebab nak bagi sambung dengan semua orang kan. So that is,
and everybody else is going fast, right? Everybody is going fast. So you just verbalize the end of the sentence.
Exactly. I think Yasin, right, how they do it, right, it's like this is the show off place lah, where you show off that you dah baca tak kan. Semua orang macam makin lama makin raju, that was going on kan. So so I'm embarrassed when bila dah lama tak baca, it will show up lah, tiba-tiba you kena pergi tahlil ke apa kan.
It's like, it's like Donald Trump singing the national anthem, the US national anthem. Have you seen Donald Trump when he sings the US national anthem? At the beginning, he will sing it, and then you lose the words and just be quiet.
Good.
And then the familiar part and start singing again.
He knows the Russian. He knows the Russian national anthem better.
Okay, but for me, it's not so much about the rituals. It's more about the mental strength. I mean, if I'm facing difficulties and breaking down is understandable, but if you're freaking out all the time, good Taliban, that kind of stuff, weepy like that, yeah, it's embarrassing. I believe I don't do it, but when I see other guys doing it, it is embarrassing. Usually that doesn't happen unless they're at the end of the tether, at the end of what they're capable of handling, and that's okay. That's okay. But I've seen some weepy guys, not very many though, but very weepy guys, and that's kind of embarrassing.
I think can I share a little bit on that, on what you said, just to add on. For me, it's embarrassing for me when I don't have the mental fortitude to be resilient to finish something. Especially during my younger days lah banyak. I start a lot of things but never end a lot of things lah. So that really embarrasses me. I don't know who's counting, and I feel like everybody's counting, but the only person that's counting will be me actually. But not having the mental fortitude to or resilient to go through difficulties, that sometimes is embarrassing for me lah. Please.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
It's already 1 hour. Thank you so much for your sharing. Now, actually, at the end of the day, after we have highlighted what the specific area of our life that in this context is things that embarrass men, and then what's next is that for us to having the awareness, and next is to act upon how we can use the realization to strengthen us further. And also it has to be translated into action and managing our well-being, right? So what's your advice on that, Omar? Quick one.
Well, I wanted to say stay grounded, but I guess I have to explain that. Stay grounded means to be real, to realize that a man is just as vulnerable. You're just a human creature, and all your vulnerabilities are beliefs based on social norms, for me, what I do is I actually associate myself with people that I admire, whose qualities I admire, right? So being in the training industry has been a tremendous opportunity for me because there's so many of them. So I kind of like associate myself with them and model up myself after them. So that's how I do it. Yeah.
All right, Ilyas?
What was your question again? Sorry, Jackie.
Yeah, because what we are doing now is like putting spotlight on the things that in this topic is about what things that embarrass men, and having that spotlight, we are now aware these are the things that perhaps will make you embarrassed, and then it needs to be translated into how we can use that awareness to strengthen us in terms of our well-being. So what's your advice on that or take on that?
My take is that when you turn 40, there's nothing much to be embarrassed about because it's just you. But if you are young people out there, awareness about whether whatever you're embarrassed about, whether it's important or not in your life. I think that is the question. Does it impact you in any way? Does your decision making impact others in any way? So this embarrassing thing is just a very social norm. Right? So I'm not saying you should live on your own terms. What I'm saying is you got to know the game. If you are playing the game of the world, you need to play by its rules.
Yeah.
If you're playing your own game, then you play by your own rules. But anyhow, whatever you are playing for, there are prices to pay. Itu saja.
Yes.
Itu saja.
Right.
So,
Okay, so thank you, gentlemen. Definitely, it's not only men, women. We have our own insecurities. We have our own things that we feel embarrassed about as well. And I would like to acknowledge our viewers. Thank you for dropping by. We have comments from Faisal Yahya here. This is about yeah, nothing much that men do which would be embarrassing, expectedly. You're right, and yeah. Luckily, Omar have answered his question around why my men, focusing on men, because this is men's brief. And I'm also seeing a few of our friends here. Thank you so much for dropping by. Yeah, and I'll see you again on Wednesday. Wednesday we have a topic, a serious topic. It will be about VUCA, VUCA, and in relations to COVID-19 pandemic, the leadership around what, how, what, and how, the how, the what, and about going around the pandemic that we have now. I mean, in terms of leadership, yeah. Okay, so on we will have again program or rather
Another episode, yeah.
section or segment around expertise. We have expert coming on Friday. Sorry, on Wednesday. So we'll announce that as well. Okay, so thank you so much, Ilyas. Thank you so much, Omar. Yeah, and we'll see you again next week with a new topic on Monday, same time. All right. Okay, so
Thanks,
goodbye.
Thanks, Ilyas.
Right. Thanks, guys. Thanks, Jack.
Okay, dah.